Salvador Dali, talent or mad genius? At the age of 6, I wanted to become a cook. At 7, Napoleon. Since then, my ambitions have grown steadily. This statement begins Salvador Dali's autobiography, written by him. Everyone knows the name of the Spanish painter, his famous mustache, and strange paintings. He created more than 1,000 outstanding masterpieces, and to some people, they seem to be the works of a mad genius, although Salvador Dali himself claimed that he was absolutely normal. Salvador Dali was born in 1904 to a wealthy family in Spain. From childhood, he was a spoiled and narcissistic child with a difficult character. He became interested in painting very early in his life, studied at a local school, and took individual lessons from a professor at the Academy of Arts. He painted his first oil painting on a cardboard postcard at the age of 6, which can now be found in the Dali Museum in the USA. The first exhibition in Figueres, Dali's hometown, took place when he was only 14 years old. Like many other personalities who have achieved worldwide fame, Salvador Dali studied poorly. During his long hours at school, he loved to watch out the window as the shadow slowly moved across the cypress trees. Because of his character and unwillingness to obey the authorities, he was expelled twice from the Academy of the Arts for behavioral issues. The last time, in 1926, when he passed the exam, he refused to answer a question about the work of Raphael, which he adored and knew, and told the 3 professors that he alone knew infinitely more than they knew put together, and considered them incompetent. He never received a diploma. Dali was greatly influenced by Picasso, whom he met in Paris. "I came to you before I visited the Louvre," Salvador Dali said when meeting. "You did right," Picasso replied. Salvador Dali showed his painting, at which Picasso looked without a single word for a quarter of an hour, and then took him to his studio, where he showed him all of his canvases. Salvador Dali was also an admirer of Sigmund Freud, and his book, The Interpretation of Dreams, was considered to be the basis of his method of inspiration. Dali sought inspiration in dreams, and even slept while sitting, holding a key or a spoon in his hand, under which lay an iron tray. Falling asleep, Salvador Dali unclenched his hand, the key fell with a loud clang, and the artist woke up and immediately painted his visions. The painting, a dream caused by the flight of a bee around a pomegranate a minute before awakening, is just one of such pictures. It is filled with symbols, and it is impossible to understand this picture. You can only feel the atmosphere of this masterpiece. Gala, Elena Diakonova, became another inspiration, muse, friend, wife, and manager. Gala mastered the profession of a producer, so Dali worked and she represented his rights and advertised her husband. It was she who made him a commercially successful artist. Dali presented her with a castle, which he restored and painted the walls with his own hand. Gala accepted the gift on the condition that Salvador could visit her only with Gala's written permission. Dali liked it very much. Salvador Dali achieved wide fame during his lifetime. Over the course of his lifetime, Dali painted pictures that gained popularity all over the world. He created the Chupa Chups logo, for which he did not take money, but asked to send him lollipops for the rest of his life. He worked in the cinema industry with Walt Disney and Alfred Hitchcock, and created sketches for jewellery and clothing. The most impressive piece of jewellery created by Dali is the Royal Heart, dedicated to the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II of England. According to Dali, the rubies in the centre of the jewellery symbolise the Queen, whose heart beats and suffers for the sake of her people. This is undoubtedly one of Dali's most mesmerising masterpieces. In 1950, Dali collaborated with close friend Christian Dior on a future fashion project and designed Dress of the Year 2045, of course in Dali's style. Incredibly, it was Dali who invented false nails. The first samples were mirrored so that you could look in them. The most famous of his paintings, The Persistence of Memory, was written in a few hours while his wife Gala was at the cinema with friends. Salvador drew a sea and a cape, but fell asleep in a dream, saw an image of a soft clock that flows downward, which symbolises the relativity of time. A few days later, the painting was bought by an American who assured Dali that this painting was not a commercial success. However, you can see The Persistence of Memory in the New York Museum. In addition to this, Salvador Dali loved to throw parties. They took place in the same surreal style as his whole life. It was Dali who designed the costumes and sets for the infamous Ball of Satan in the Rothschild family estate. Also, Salvador Dali illustrated the book Alice in Wonderland. The content of the book and Dali's style fit together perfectly. 2,700 copies of the book were published. Dali signed each engraving. Now they are on sale at a price not less than $12,000. In 1973, Salvador Dali published a cookbook that contained 136 recipes with strange names and was lavishly illustrated with drawings by the artist, as strange as his other paintings. An interesting fact is that the best restaurants in Paris have borrowed several recipes for their menu. 400 copies were published, which was considered a rarity until 2016 when the book was reprinted. Now Dali's surreal cookbook costs €45. When visiting restaurants, Dali always paid for his friends with a check in which he drew a small drawing. He knew that his drawing was worth more than the amount of money on it, and therefore the check would not be cashed. The master lived a long and bright life, met true love, created thousands of masterpieces. He achieved everything he dreamed of, except to become a cook, as he once wished at the age of 6. He passed away at the same Figueres hospital which he was born 84 years ago. The last quirk of the master was the desire to be buried so that people walk the grave. His body was embalmed and then exhibited in a snow-white tunic and crown in the Gala Tower of the famous Figueres Theatre Museum for 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. Lots of people who visited paid tribute to the great master. 20,000 people managed to see him. Then the artist was buried in the center of the museum hall, surrounded by his works. Before his death, Salvador Dali left all of his works, which were at the time in his own possession, to Spain, his native country. There is no doubt that this eccentric and mysterious artist became the face of the 20th century.